World number one has just hit the lineup. Stephanie Gilmore, the 7-time world champ, tied up with Lane Beachley last season with the most world titles in history and creating her own records with the most event wins of all time with 30. And once it got started, we saw Carissa Moore's connection with this wave. Courtney Conlog doing quite well. Sally Fitzgibbons as we continue on with live action. Bronte Macaulay taking the first wave. The local starts off on the backhand. Nice clean little carve. Setup work just to find the pocket. And now gunning towards the tail end of this wave, but running out of water to work with. She'll lay down before the rocks.
Thankfully.
Good smart move from Bronte. There was really no water for her to land on. Came on the scene with some wild card call-ups. Had a tougher rookie season on tour, but just been building year after year. What happened on this wave?
Well, kind of a little bit of lump and bump on this wave, so it really was hard for Bronte to fit her turns in, Joe, right there. And you can see as she comes through this inside. I think she was kind of going for that last maneuver, and kind of in hindsight, it was great she didn't, because it went absolutely bone dry through that inside section.
Caroline Marks will have Sally Fitzgibbons, Courtney Conlog, Tatiana Weston-Webb. We're setting up the last quarterfinal with the 7-time world champ and the reigning world champ swooping on the right. We'll use that white water to climb. A 2-turn combination. Always has flow, harnessing the speed of the main break, and kicking out is a very important decision, especially when you see the rocks pop up.
Steph Gilmore, though, watch this wave here from her beautiful afternoon light as she just hooks into that first maneuver. Beautiful searing turn from Steph. Nice little foam climb, comes out nice and clean. Great way to start from Stephanie Gilmore. And there's that beautiful style, big wingspan, just opening up those shoulders. Right the way back into the power source. Great surfing here from Steph Gilmore in very tricky conditions here this afternoon. Finishing nicely. So Steph Gilmore with the advantage on that opening exchange, Joe.
So Steph Gilmore turning in a 5-point ride as we look at Bronte Macaulay now. Thanks, Rosie, as we watch a Goofy Foot local just set up that stretched out bottom turn. Quick little carve out front, setup work to find the pocket. And now Macaulay just finding another section hit off the top. Thinking about a finish now. Starting to run out of water. She misses that shelf and has to eject at the last second there.
Kicking out of wave number 2. Bronte Macaulay, though, she's fighting back. She's not going to give up, and this wave, one of her best so far. Waiting for this inside section to arise, but just not really anything vertical. Her turns were cut just a little bit short as well. And then as she comes through the inside here, just get out of that one, love. So Bronte Macaulay fighting her way back in, which we always knew she was going to do, Joe. Big, deep bottom turn here. Needed to just drive off those fins, which she did on that occasion. And then the wave kind of really didn't cooperate. She needs a little bit more of that vertical face to get that board nice and upright. I think those scores will follow, but Bronte Macaulay, we always know she's going to dig deep and give her opponents their run for their money.
And see how much time it took her just to navigate that little channel. The Water Patrol standing by to whip her out the back. Meanwhile, Gilmore all alone at the main break. Quick little wrapping turn. She'll fade another cutback on the open face. And hopping out of there. She's thrown out a couple of turns and looking really smooth. I'm really enjoying Gilmore just riding a little bit bigger board. She looks great on a 6-2.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it too, you know, and I think what a place to do it as well. Gilmore on her backup wave at the moment. You can see just a little bit more of an aggressive approach. You know, a lot more rail in the water, carrying a lot more speed through her turns. Beautiful flow, and decides to kick out of that. But this first turn here, you can see the confidence she's got with a bit more foam under her feet, Joe. Allows her to just drive off those fins. Beautiful, smooth, clean surfing here from Stephanie Gilmore. And that's all you got to do. 5 on the first wave, a 4.17 on wave number 2. Steph looking strong here this afternoon.
World number 1 with a 5 and a 4.17. Macaulay needing a 5.34 to get a spot into the quarterfinals. She said right at the peak of high tide that she didn't realize the sets were going to stop coming through, and recovered in the elimination round really well. Gilmore under priority takes this wave. Sets a nice easy pace carve. Quick highline wrap. And the reigning world champ kicks out.
Just catching this wave, it just really shows me she's in a good frame of mind. Not one of the best waves that have come through, but got the confidence to go, you know, and we always talk about if Steph's up and riding, she's putting good scores on the board. It's when Steph's sitting around waiting is when, for me, you've got to kind of worry a little bit, but she's looking sharp here this afternoon, and I don't think really needs to crank it up just yet.
It's amazing to see the rhythm that Steph Gilmore is in the time of her career. She's spent the most time on tour.
Steph Gilmore up and riding.
Still showing Bronte with priority, and she'll just go over this wave. Gilmore just pacing her first turn and ends up kicking out immediately. Bronte had to dig in as this set was just rolling underneath. Still scratching to get into this one, and not in time. Steph Gilmore will use this wave as a victory lap, as she has just taken out the local Bronte Macaulay, and will move on to the quarterfinals here at the Margaret River Pro. High score, just that 5-point ride, so definitely has some room to improve heading into Sunday. Making the Jeep leaderboard pretty exciting. Still #1 in the world, as she'll navigate through that shallow section of the reef and keep that 6-2 solid. She might not need it tomorrow. We'll see how much swell we have left over, but a great performance from Gilmore to take the win in the round of 16.